Oh, hey, how's it going, everybody? And we're back for another edition of All In, where I'll pick a rock artist, I'll listen to the entire disc. Boy, did I mess that up. Oh, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to another edition of All In, where I'll pick a rock band, and I'll listen to the entire discography, and I'll discuss it. So, the rules kind of go like this. The band in question must have 5 or more original studio albums. Cover albums can count. Normally I don't talk about live or acoustic albums unless the tracks come original to that form. So, here we go. So, kind of segueing from Ozzy last video, I told you we're going to do a band that I had mentioned when I saw Ozfest. And that band is going to be Disturbed. That's right. And I know in the last video you sort of heard the story about the first time I saw them on second stage and whatnot. But my first memories of hearing Disturbed, I would say probably just on just regular rock radio. I don't remember the first time I heard them exactly, but I kind of just heard Stupefy as like a brand new song, and it was a damn good song. And my buddy Josh, part of the Roy's Boys, he was the first one to buy the first album, The Sickness. And sort of a random memory there, at least the first time of hearing the whole album. I don't know, like, those of you guys on the East Coast or the Northeast, if you remember, like, in Gettysburg, they had, like, this big observation tower that overlooked the entire battlefield. And they were broadcasting this live on TV as they were, like, tearing it down. They were, like, blowing it up and tearing the observation tower down because they want to restore the battlefield. Yeah, but I know, getting a little off topic here, but the point of this story is we were waiting for them to destroy the tower, and in the course of waiting, we were playing the album, listening to it. So it's sort of like a little pre-destruction music, I guess. But that's kind of like my first memory of hearing that album. But yeah, I guess we'll get into the actual albums here. Let's see here. So their discography spans from The Sickness in 2000, their debut, all the way up to Divisive, which came out in 2022, just 3 years ago. And supposedly they're supposed to have a new album come out in 2025, but that's pretty much like hearsay or to be announced. We'll see. I'm sure they're going to have more material here later in the future. Just got to keep your ear open for it. But starting off with the obvious, The Sickness. And I would say Disturbed is kind of like Linkin Park in a way, because they just came out swinging with this album, like, out of nowhere. And here again, dare I say it, possibly another top 5 album for me of all time. So here we start off with Voices, then you got The Game, and of course, the breakout track, Stupefy, and then another popular track, Down with the Sickness, the one that goes, wah! I always thought that was unique of how David Draymond did that. Like, he kind of has, like, these unique voice grunts. Like, you can't mistake him. Then you got Violence Fetish, then you got Fear, MVMD, and then you got Want, Conflict, and then they did a cover of Shout. They call it Shout 2000, which was Tears for Fears. Then you got Dropping Plates, and then the last track, Meaning of Life. And, as I already said, definitely a top shelf album. Love it. Highly recommend it. Especially if you're getting into like rock, just getting into it here. Definitely an essential in a rock collection for sure. And I don't know how you would construe these guys in category. Like, they could be a little bit new metal, but they're more. They're not really like true new metal. You know what I mean? They're more of like a metalcore, I guess. But yeah, I mean, great album. Highly recommend it. So then we move on to 2002. They released their sophomore album, Believe. Yeah, I kind of got this messed up here. Yeah, just bear with me, people. I'm not going to cut this out because we're not Hollywood. Okay, here we go. Now I can read the songs right while you look at it right. So, here, 2002's Believe, we have Prayer, which was the breakout track to this one. You got Liberate my mind, by the way. And then you got Awaken, Believe, which is the title track, Remember, Intoxication, Rise, Mistress, Breathe, Bound, Devour, and we end with Darkness. And this is back in the days of enhanced CDs. You guys remember that? Like, you would actually take this and put it in your CD-ROM, and you might get like a couple music videos out of it. But yeah, that's one of these CDs. That's kind of one of them things you don't really get with downloads, you know? Unless they include like video files and whatnot with the download. But yeah, it even says you need to use QuickTime Player for it. That's nice. But yeah, another relic from back in the day. Bring! But yeah, definitely recommend it. And of course, kind of a weird detail on this album, they put the parental advisory on the back. But that's kind of unique, I guess. But definitely another good one. Good follow-up to it. And then we have 10,000 Fists, which I know I gotta take this out, but you guys remember when like downloading ringtones to your phone was a thing? You had to text like a certain number to get them. This is before smartphones. Like, get your official Disturbed ringtone, including Stricken and Guarded. And of course, also available. Download the Sickness, Stupefy, Prayer, and more. I doubt this works anymore, but kind of a cool relic from the time. But put this back together here and discuss it. So, 10,000 Fists. This one coming out in 2005. Love it. We start off with, I can't hardly read that on the back of the CD. I'll have to go over to the wiki page to read that. So we start off with the title track, 10,000 Fists. Great way to start. Then you have Just Stop and Guarded, both really good songs. You got Deify and then Stricken, which is a popular one. I'm Alive, Sons of Plunder, Overburden, Decadence, Forgiven, and then definitely a damn good cover, Land of Confusion, originally by Genesis. And I love the cover of this. I even like the original too. Like that's one of those songs that both the cover and the original are about the same for me. I can listen to either one. And they got Sacred Life, Pain Redefined, Avarice, and then if you get the bonus track editions, you might get Monster in 2 words. But here again, another great album by them. I don't think it's as good as The Sickness, but definitely a good follow-up to that and Believe. So that's kind of where I stopped buying the physical copies of them. So then, late 2008, this is the first download I ever got. We got Indestructible. And so here, we have the title track starting off. Then you have Inside the Fire, Deceiver, and then The Night, which is a pretty mellow song, but not bad. You got Perfect Insanity, Haunted, Enough, The Curse, Torn, Criminal, Divide, and is it Facade? Or Facade, I don't know, I'm not sure. And then we have bonus tracks Run, Parasite, and Midlife Crisis, which was a Faith No More cover. That actually could also be found on their Lost Children album, which was like some odds and ends they did over all those years, like over the first probably 12 years of their career. That album there includes like especially songs for like their soundtracks, B-sides, that kind of thing. Like the hidden nuggets, I guess. I think that's cool when like these longtime bands do that, You kind of like get back what you're missing as far as like their early stuff. I feel like in a way with Metallica when they did Garage Inc., it's like it was kind of like a throwback to their original stuff there. That's kind of how I feel about the Lost Children album. But yeah, definitely another great one. The 2000s, all in all, were awesome for Disturbed. So then, we move on. We got 2010's Asylum, their 5th album. So, here we start off with Remnants, and then you got Asylum, the title track, Infection, you got Warrior, and then, I would say the breakout track to this, Another Way to Die. You got Never Again, The Animal, Crucified, Serpentine, My Child, Sacrifice, Innocence, and then they listed as a hidden track, but they did a cover of "I Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For" by U2, which they title it as, they just kind of abbreviate the whole thing to shorten it, like Ishwilf. Ishwilf. Yeah, it sounds like a Rammstein title, doesn't it? Ishfwilf. But yeah, I mean, not a bad cover, honestly. And of course, you know, they, depending on which deluxe edition you get like live tracks and whatnot, as they've always been doing. So then, I guess we'll talk about the Lost Children. I mean, I just talked briefly about it, but we'll go into detail here. So, in this track listing, we have the song Hell, which was a B-side from 10,000 Fists. We have a Welcome Burden, which, that was on the Dracula 2000 soundtrack, which I have right here. And, yeah, this soundtrack has like a whole variety of bands. Like, you have Powerman 5000, of course, Disturbed. You got Slayer, System of a Down, Monster Magnet. You got Linkin Park, Pantera, Static X. Hell, I did all ins on half of these already. That's crazy. And I'm sure there's more to come. But yeah, definitely a good one-off from them. You also have This Moment, which was on the Transformers soundtrack, which, why did I not get that one down? I keep doing that shit. Alright, where the hell is it? Ah, here it is. Yeah, Transformers soundtrack. And of course, this one also includes Linkin Park. Like, most of the bands on this, I really don't know, other than, like, Linkin Park. You got the Goo Goo Dolls, you got the Used. This one has a little bit more variety as far as, like, different rock genres. But yeah, damn good song. Then you have Old Friend, which was a B-side on Asylum. You have Monster, which was a 10,000 Fists B-side. You have Run, Leave It Alone, Two Words, God of the Mind, Sickened, Mine, Parasite, Dehumanized, and 3. Those were all B-sides to various albums. I did mention Midlife Crisis. That was a bonus track from one of the earlier albums. And then you have Living After Midnight, which was a Judas Priest cover. And they actually started that song off as like the drum start. You know how like I know you maybe some of you guys heard the song Painkiller by Judas Priest. That's exactly how they started this off, and then he went on to Living After Midnight, which was pretty cool. Sort of like an homage to Judas Priest, you know. I like how they did that. But anyhow, so that was kind of their comp album right there. So, moving on, 2015, we got Immortalized. And they really start to mellow out a bit at this point. So, yeah, mid-2010s, we have Eye of the Storm intro, we got Immortalized, The Vengeful One, which I believe was a breakout to this. You have Open Your Eyes, we have The Light, which was, it's kind of like a ballad-type song. You have What Are You Waiting For, You're Mine, Who, Save Our Last Goodbye, Fire It Up, and here's one that it could be the most successful, I don't know, The Sound of Silence, which was a Simon & Garfunkel cover. And I don't know about you guys, but I almost feel like they overplayed this one a bit. I could almost categorize this with Stairway to Heaven, as far as like how it's been overplayed all the time. I don't hate it, but they just played it a little bit too much. You got Never Wrong, Who Taught You How to Hate. Then you got Tyrant, Legend of the Monsters, and Brave to be Bold. So yeah, not a bad album, honestly. So then we have 2018, we got Evolution. So here we start off, damn good way to start an album anyway. We got Are You Ready? Just a great opener. And breakout tracks. And then we have No More, A Reason to Fight, In Another Time, Stronger on Your Own, Hold On to Memories, Save an Hour or Nothing. We got Watch You Burn, The Best Ones Lie, and Already Gone. And, you know, all in all, I mean, not too bad, but again, sort of mellow in the later years. And then we also have, kind of ending their discography for now, we're in 2022, they release Divisive. And here we start off with Hey You, which would be the breakout track to this. You got Bad Man, Divisive, Unstoppable, another good one there. Love to Hate, Feeding the Fire, Don't Tell Me, featuring Ann Wilson, Take Back Your Life, Part of Me, and Won't Back Down, which was a damn good one. And that was Won't Back Down, that was a good way to end the album, too. But honestly, as far as Later Disturbed, I think I like this one the best so far. As far as, like, 2010s and the 2020s. Alright, so how do we rank them? So, I'm just going to split this off in two different eras. We're going to say 2000s Disturbed for the first four, and then the last four is going to be 2010s to now. So, starting off with 2000s Disturbed. Obviously, The Sickness, way up here. Loved it. Any of them tracks could have been a single. Damn good way to start off, just out of nowhere. And kind of my same opinion as I had on Linkin Park's first album, basically. As far as the worst one, I would say their sophomore album, Believe. I like the other two after that, 10,000 Fists and Indestructible. I like them a little bit better than Believe, so... Not that I hated it, but my least favorite in that era. Now coming to the 2010s to now... Divisive, their latest one. Love that one. It kind of was like a flashback to their old sound a little bit. And as far as my least favorite there, I'm going to say Immortalized. But I didn't hate any of them. I mean, they're all pretty good albums. So yeah, damn good discography there. I also got to give honorable mention to like a one-off they did. They actually did a damn good Sting cover, If I Ever Lose My Faith in You. And kind of real mellow, like Sound of Silence, but not really like too overplayed. I thought it was pretty good, honestly. And then, so that was everything that the Disturbed did as far as albums go. And I also forgot to mention the Queen of the Damned soundtrack. Now, David Draymond kind of did this more on his own, away from the band, but you have the song Forsaken on here. And of course, a lot of the artists here, you know, just did like solo lead singer material on this album. Like Wayne Static did one. You got, of course, David Draymond. You got Chester Bennington of Linkin Park. But then you got like Deftones, Papa Roach, Godhead. Then you got Jay Gordon of Orgy. Oh, they put Down with the Sickness on this too. That's interesting. But yeah, I mean, not a bad album here. And then the other album outside of Disturbed I gotta mention is the little one-off they did. David Draymond did. It was Device. You know, album of the same name. And the most popular song there was Validify. And it wasn't really heavy. It was more so like, it almost had like a techno feel to it a little bit. But, I mean, it was pretty successful. That one came out in 2013. And, of course, they actually did a cover of Close My Eyes Forever with Lizzie Hale's guest in this version of it. And it's kind of weird. We just talked about this song on the Aussie All-In when he did that with Lita Ford. And then here we are, like, 20-some-odd years later with a cover of it. I mean, but not a bad cover. Oh, and they also did, as a bonus track, the song Wish, which was a Nine Inch Nails cover. But it was a lot of, like, there was like a lot of guests in that album. Like, you had, you know, Tom Morello was a guest in one track, and then you had Glenn Hughes. But a little bit of a departure from, like, normal Disturbed, but not bad. I mean, definitely worth checking out. Alright, now to talk about my experiences seeing them live. So, I was fortunate enough to get to see them live 3 times, which, the first time, I don't know if I can count it or not, but yeah, what the hell, I'll count it. So, the first time, and I know I said this in the Aussie video, I got to see them at Allsfest 2000, and this is back when Stupefy just hit the airwaves, and they weren't really, like, popular other than that song, and at this early point in their career, they were only on second stage. So down at Nissan Pavilion, they had like two stages. Of course, you had your main stage, and then you had your second stage, which was like only like mosh pit. The main stage had the seats. So the way they did it is they would play, like, for example, main stage would play an act while second stage sets up their next act. And then when second stage would start to play, the main stage would switch to their next act. And it was like continuous non-stop music. So basically we had to catch them like in between like two of the main stage shows. So we walked back to see them, and of course they had already started their set. And we came just in time to miss all but the very end of Stupefy. And boy, I was disappointed, but we stuck around for maybe a couple songs or two, like maybe a song or two, and then we walked back to the main stage, but that's about all I can say about that. So, in 2002, me and my buddies tried to get tickets to see them live in Hershey. They were opening up for Black Sabbath, which Black Sabbath was touring with Ozzy at that time, still. And we had the tickets ordered and everything. We were ready to go. And for whatever reason, the show got canceled. So, fortunately, we got our money back for the tickets. So, in 2003, the very next year, the Music as a Weapon tour came back to Hershey. Or came to Hershey, I should say. And so, in this lineup, I'm going to show you the shirt here. Yeah, that came straight from the show. So, here you have Unloco, Taproot, Chevelle, and of course Disturbed. And yeah, damn good show by all the bands there. Loved it. They definitely packed the house that time. So then, fast forward to many, many, many years later, 2015, I got my fiance tickets to see Rob Zombie at Hershey. So this lineup consisted of Pop Evil opening up. And I gotta commend Pop Evil for, like, still doing, like, a lot of the underground places on top of the big venues. So, because I've seen them at a couple underground places and a couple big venues, so they definitely haven't forgotten where their roots came from. But getting back to Disturbed, they came up next, and boy, they were a damn good act again. They just don't disappoint. And when they did The Sound of Silence, yeah, I did say earlier that the song does get overplayed on the radio, but when they did it live, boy, did the crowd light up. Like, I'm talking, like, in the form of lighters and cell phones when the room got dark. It's actually a pretty cool scene. But, yeah, damn good show by them, and of course, they opened up for Rob Zombie on that show. And I highly recommend seeing them, too, if you get the chance. But yeah, that's all I have to say about Disturbed. So next video is going to consist of a band that started off in the mid-90s, and they are still around today. So find out who it is. Well, if you made it this far into the vid, I'm sure you're wondering how in the hell I'm wearing a different shirt and how my hair got a little longer. Well, literally a week after I recorded the Disturbed All In video, which of course you're still watching, they released a brand new track. It was on February 21st of this year, 2025. The track is called I Will Not Break, and it's their first independent release. So, my thoughts on the track? Kicked ass. I could almost compare it to earlier Disturbed, judging by just that track. And you want to talk about, like, kick-ass artwork on it? There's really no word yet if this is going to be a standalone single, or if they're working on a whole new album for later on this year, or maybe next year. All that's unconfirmed, but yeah, I had to come back and mention this brand new track that literally dropped after I had the video edited and scheduled for upload. So now, I'm a little behind the scenes, I'm going to re-edit this video, or by the time you see this, it's already done. I'm going to re-edit this video and reschedule for upload. So, yeah, definitely a great addition to All In with Disturbed, and I hope they have a full album coming out here soon. And if they do, I'll come back eventually and talk about it. So that's another thing I'm going to do here. Like, the bands I feature on here, as they come out with more new albums, I'm going to do maybe once every few months, I'll do like an All In update. But But yeah, so like I said in the last part of this video, we're moving on to something from the 90s. So we'll see you next time.